everybody. How's everybody doing? That's what I'm about to do. Video moon. There you go. Yeah, the moon's out tonight. How you doing, Jim? I hope you are well. Miss Dixon, how are you tonight, my dear? Mrs. Doe or Foxy or whatever you want to be called. How are you tonight, my dear? And plenty of bacon, huh? Yeah, the moon is, I can't see nothing. We have nothing but clouds. No rain, no nothing, just clouds, and it's cold. I hope everybody is well. I'm going to flip over here real quick. It's pretty sad. I can see the StreamYard chat better than the YouTube chat, and that's even with new glasses. I hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. Hope you all are well. I'm okay. It's been an interesting day. Actually, I'd say since late last night, this day has been a very interesting day. But I'm okay and I'm good. Thank you for asking. Clouds are coming and going. Yeah, it's real cloudy here, bud. It's just gloomy. It was nice this morning. I got up, the sun was shining, beautiful. Then about maybe 3, 4 o'clock, they started rolling in. So, yeah. No, I haven't yet, but I will. Hey, Jim, what you can do, if you have a link to it, you can still put it in chat. It just won't. And if it won't let you, do you have my email? Send me the link. Oops, I'm typing in the wrong place. Uh-oh, I froze. Everybody good? There we go. Yeah, StreamYard finally admitted they were having a problem with YouTube and everything or something. They supposedly fixed it. Yeah, you're supposed to get a mix tomorrow there, young lady. Yeah, I know you guys are getting crazy stuff. Oh, isn't April so lovely for spring? It's like Ohio spring everywhere. But as I was saying, I'm going to put my email and address. Send me the link, okay, Jim? That would be appreciative. It'll make it so much easier for me to find. And I will watch it. Probably watch it tonight later while I'm folding laundry. There you go. I'm sure somebody will also. I'll start getting a bunch of crazy trolling email, but I don't give a crap. It don't bother me. I just sweep it off to the side. But yeah, I do want to check it out. Just send me the link or put it in. I don't know if you might be able to actually put it in the comments after, or come back tomorrow and put it in the comments. So all good. But I do want to check it out. But yeah, other than that, just been a busy, crazy day. Trying to do a little of this, a little of that, running here and there and everywhere. I'm ready to settle down, just kind of cool down. I just got done doing dishes and doing a walkthrough. Okay, I'll remove it. Thank you. I'm not really too worried about it. I get crazy mail as it is. Ooh, what'd I do? I clicked on my own channel. I'll go ahead and remove it. Not that I care. Anybody that wanted just got it. I'm not worried about it. Somebody that might actually need to talk to me might find it. So it's actually in my profile, on my page. What used to be on my page. I haven't looked to see how much they changed everything. At least the nighttime temps are supposed to warming up. Actually, what is it now here? We're down to 42 now. It'll probably be chilly. We had freeze warnings this morning. It was cold when I woke up. On your page? Yeah, I think it's on my page too. You know, when you go to contact or whatever it is at the end there. But they've changed stuff, so I don't know if it's still there. I need to go look. If not, I'll make sure it's there because there are people that try to reach out to me, and then they tell me, "Oh, I was trying to get a hold of you." It's like, hey, I'm in stream on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Yell at me. But yeah, send me the link and I'll check it out. Like I said, if you do it tonight or tomorrow, I'll definitely watch it. That's just like I said. After I got a stream last night, I played Fortnite with Nutslap for a little bit and got busy. It was almost 4:00 in the morning when I finally went to bed, and then woke up again at 7. I really didn't sleep. I just tossed and turned and stared out the window. Still in the 30s here. I had frost Thursday. We had frost Thursday and Friday morning and this morning. So yeah, how you're feeling? Just not as cold as you guys have been. And with your crazy weather up there, you guys have been getting a little bit of everything. So I hope you got a lot of blankets on. I don't think we'll see good weather or start chilling out until probably another 2 or 3 weeks, till the probably beginning of May. March and April are so crazy in Ohio. It's nuts. It really is. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. Thursday night doing oracles, I'd been working so much, and Friday was today and Friday was so crazy. And Friday night, my hands were so bad. I was fighting to type, and my nose was running. I was hurting. I hope Edna's doing okay, and I hope all the other folks that are not in yet are doing okay. Nightmare and wow, it let me pass it here. Yeah, cool. Paste it here. Did it? In comments or on here? Because I don't see it. Did I miss it? It's not on my StreamYard. It may have showed up on yours, but it may not have showed up on ours. That happens sometimes when somebody says something and YouTube doesn't like it. Like Vixen made a comment, was it Wednesday night? And it showed up in my StreamYard, but YouTube wouldn't show any comments. And it was nothing bad. She was just talking about what they were doing with mammoths. So YouTube, I think you have to have a wrench. So I need to give Cindy a couple names so you guys have wrenches. Because we like to have a lot of wrenches in the room. That way we know we can trust you guys. After you've been around for a while. Or she does. I'm just a bystander. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? You being safe out there? Are you home? Are you still on the? I bet you're probably still on the road, right? Man, you shave and trim up. Man, I'm so grody. Yeah, you have to have a wrench. So yeah, I will. There's a few people that are showing up now that we need to get wrenches on. I think she's just giving them a little more time. I don't blame her. It's her channel. I'd probably be the same way when I. Yeah, that's all you were doing. That's all we were doing. I don't know why or what the hint was to with YouTube, but they're so fit. I mean, it's like this show last Saturday, I got demonetized. I still don't know why. They never told her why. I went back and watched. The only thing I can think of is we did talk about no, yeah. I wasn't that the night we. I have no idea. We still don't know. I have tried to find out. She tried to find out. Even when they reviewed it. That's why we try to be so careful because they really do pick on the smaller channels. I'm good. I'm down in Texas. Warm. It's 87. It's cold. It's 42 here, dude. Bacon beauty. Yeah. Well, but being safe. It's all that matters, Andrew, being on that road. I know too many truckers. I know too many that have gone on the road. So, yeah, I worry about you guys out there on the roads. I know crazy stuff happens out there too. I've heard the stories. I'm sure you got. I know you have plenty of them. You brought them up enough. So yeah, I may have to play the one she did about truckers one night. Or did I play that one already? Let me go look. Well, I have it pulled up. Let me go see. Because Andrew, while you're here, if you want me to do the one about truckers, I'll do the one about truckers. She did. I know you probably remember that video. Where was that at? Where was that at? Right here. Creepy encounters from long haul truckers. 3 years ago. I can do that one. Yeah, I got a plenty. Yeah, I bet you do. And I've heard plenty. Believe me, I've heard all kinds of crazy stories. Crazy stories. Maybe I'll play that one first for Andrew while he's here. And then we'll do the other one I was getting ready to do, which was, it's a little longer. Where was that? See, I know I did the first one about staircases, but I'm not sure if I did the second one. But anyways, what was the other one I was going to do? No, I lost the one I was going to do. Oh, In the Woods, Portals and Time Rifts, or the other one was 4 Incredibly Strange Unsolved Disappearances. But that one's super long. That's almost like an hour long, which is fine because that's what this is all about. Yeah, I think I'll do that while you're here. We'll start it here in a little bit. What time we got? 12, 12. I always let a lot of people come in, and I'll start it here shortly because I'm sure you're tired. You're a couple hours behind us, too. Are you settled in, or are you in the truck? Well, you could be settled into the truck, too. So let me put that one down until we start. Yeah, Vixen, I don't know why they did that to you. It happened the other night too, Wednesday night too. I just didn't say anything to somebody said something, and I just didn't say anything because it will show up in your chat, but I can guarantee you it didn't show up in YouTube, but it shows up in my StreamYard because StreamYard lets you see what's going on. I'm understanding why elders. I'm settled in for the night. Cool. We'll start it here shortly then, Andrew. I don't know if you've seen this one or not. It's 3 years old. Were you around 3 years ago? I'm sure you were around 3 years ago. That was about SR. That was, it might have been before SOR, Spaced Out Radio. Let me make sure. I want to see the date on this. I pull it up and get it ready. Oh, be quiet. Sorry. Shh. Shouldn't tell Gemma to be quiet. Hold on, Vixen. What's the date on this? 3 years ago. I used to give the date. October 15th, 2021. Okay, now what did our dear Vixen say? I understand. I'm understanding why elders say people should be safely indoors at night. Yes, weird stuff. Well, why do you think biblically they believe that the workday was from morning when the sun rose, as day broke, to as the sun set? It's because the Lord, because they were told that you don't want to be out after night. You're supposed to be resting and being with your family. You don't want to be out there in the darkness. But yes, it is very true. And it's funny because we've become almost a 24-hour people. We're on the go 24 hours. I mean, there are literally people on the go 24 hours a day. So it's interesting. I think that's why everything picked up even more over the years. I think it was right after Spaced Out Radio. Oh, when you come wandering in. So you may not have seen this one. You may have. We'll see if she brings you up. It's been a while since I watched that one. I do go back and watch some of the older ones to keep our views up. And it's fun to go back and look back. I like watching some of the older ones too. I really wish she left the one where she almost got scammed. I would love to replay that one. She'd kill me. Man, I do need to shave. Woo! I got a neck beard. That's my problem. But yeah, and not this Tuesday, but we're coming back to Paranormal Tuesday Talk is coming back on the 29th at 1 p.m. afternoon ET time, afternoon talk. On the 29th, and we'll keep you guys updated. I will be here hopefully Wednesday at 10, and hopefully Friday. I say hopefully because you never know what the next day is going to bring. And like I said, it's been a very interesting few days, and today was really interesting. Well, actually, very early this morning. It got real interesting. So, yeah, see how the older videos changed till now. Yeah, it is, and I do that with a lot of the people I watch. I go back and watch, see how they grow, see how much they change. I'm glad I'm old now because I wouldn't anybody be looking back at my past. They'll probably look at this. But yeah, it's fun to go back and look. It's all right to go back and look. It's so yeah. Ooh, dead air. Oh, forgive me, dead air. But yeah, we'll do that one first. We'll do the trucker one first. I was gonna do it one night, and I figured I'd wait for you. I knew you were gonna stick around. Yeah, I figured you'd get a kick out of it. I hope everybody's up well, and as people come in, I average about during the videos. When they realize she's to upload, they come and go. But it's nice to see people coming in, and just please make sure you leave a like if you come in and out. I appreciate it. I'm sure Gemma would too. Everyone's different looks. Yeah, and you see that progress, how they change. I'm getting used to this, but I'm not getting used to this. I still get nervous every time I come in here, even on Friday nights. But Friday nights are easy. I mean, even if my jokes were horrible, which I don't care. I really don't care. So if anybody liked the comments the other night, I don't care. I'm just here on Friday nights. I'm here just. I feel bad when I screw up. There's not much. I make mistakes. Yes, thank you, Jim, very much. It is Gemma's channel, and make sure you share. That's perfect. But yeah, I'm just kind of like the comedy relief, somebody for her to pick on while she streams, and keep names. But yeah, and I enjoy doing it with her. She even presses me sometimes. I know she might be watching. Yeah. Oh, always good laughs. Always good laughs. I can be blunt sometimes and not really think about it. Sometimes I really don't care. I am what I know who I am and what I am. So yeah, whoopee. I know there's times I'm funny and sometimes I'm not. At least I think so. Sometimes that intelligence comes out of my head and sometimes it stops right before my mouth, which happens a lot here because I get nervous. I'm nervous. I'll always be nervous because I'm not the out guy. I'm always the behind the scenes kind of guy. Reading or not, it's a fun show, yeah. And she's a gabber, and that's what makes that show. And sometimes people don't understand. That's how she connects with people, is relating to people. And when you're in stream, you got to do all the talking, and that's why I get a lot of dead air sometimes, or I'm sound a little off because sometimes it's either hard for me to talk or I just don't know what to say. I'm still growing here a lot. It's like with YouTube, you got to be careful what you say, and then you want to bring people in and let them know this, hey, this is a fun place, come hang out. But yeah, I think I'm gonna. Somebody say, I forget it. So what else? I thought there was something else. Now, I know Little Man is on break this week. That's Gemma's boy. I call him Little Man. So she'll be super busy next week. So just kind of bear with her. If you're trying to reach out to her or something, it will be hard for her to get a lot of work in. So we are still, yes, we are, Andrew, we are all still growing. My pop is 91 years old and he's still growing and learning. Bless his heart. I give him a hard time. He gives me a hard time. So sometimes I think I give him a hard time only because I worry. It's not I get frustrated. I just worry. I can imagine, a lot of us, there's a few of us out there that have over 90-year-old parents, and it's, it's hard. Sometimes it's harder than a kid. They're more stubborn and set no ways. And that's all right. I just want to be as happy as he can be and not have to worry. Everybody's been worrying, so. But, that's life. Got to have faith. Faith is important. Yeah, she usually does respond. And she gets her hands pretty full. So, yeah, I always say be patient with her. Now, email is a little different, but, she gets tons of email. I can only imagine trying to sift through all that stuff. It's insane. But, yeah, she does. She'll respond. And if you don't hear back from her and she don't hear from her that day, I can guarantee you'll eventually hear from her. But as for that, it's crazy. I think everybody's got hands full one way or another lately. It's nice for those who don't, because I'm happy for them because they've slowed down and been able to enjoy it a little bit. And that's good. I need to stop rushing all the time. It's been crazy, and I think that might have been why I got as sick as I got sick. Was I was too worried about everybody else, even though I take time for myself. But they're small moments. It's been a while since I've gone off and really taken off somewhere by myself and got to get away from it all. So I'm probably due for that. I know a friend that's got a birthday party coming up soon. And he usually, every couple of years, like, depending on the weather, we'll have like a fishing party or something when we all go down around a cabin down south. And he rents a cabin because he's got money. Or his brother will. And we all meet down there and hang out for the weekend or for a night and fish. It's usually for the weekend. We head down Friday night and come back Saturday or Sunday. It's been a couple years, so I'm sure. Last time I talked to him, he was kind of hoping that they could do it this year, so we'll see. Because I could use a breakaway. Maybe one drunk night would do me good or something. I don't know. I don't know if I do that anymore. I've been tipsy, but I haven't been drunk. I got pretty tipsy a while back ago, but That's because I didn't have to drive. Usually I'm the designated driver because I'm usually not the one drinking. I'm usually drinking coffee or 7-Up or something. And to all the folks that are still popping in and out, hope you hang out. Hope you enjoy. I'm going to start this one here real shortly. We're going to do truckers. Creepy encounters with long haul truckers. And Andrew's right here. He's a trucker. He'll tell you for the fact that weird stuff definitely happens. I've heard my share of stories. I'm going to pull those out one Wednesday and start reading some of the stuff that I've wrote down. Some of them are short. There's a couple of them. This one guy, I swear, he went on for about an hour with this story. And that was somewhere in the Ozarks, if I remember right. I'm trying to think where it was. But anyways, I got to find it. It's a creepy one. Come on, the water's warm. Yep. Come on in, the water's good. Warm, and there ain't no fish biting your toes. No sharks in the water. Well, maybe land sharks. That was bad. I guess I better start the video. The upload. I don't like calling videos. I call them uploads. So let me pull this baby up. I will be in chat, but I sometimes will leave my mic on. Sometimes it's easier for me to say something. Let's see. Here we go. Now, just so folks know, a lot of times what I do is I'll cut the end off because a lot of stuff she's talking about is done past. So I usually cut it off about the time she does her thing and starts, or if she gets to rambling too bad, no offense to Gemma, but it's old stuff. So, and let me get it up here. Just like I think this one is, wait a second. I can't see chat, so bear with me. This one's 19 minutes long. So here we go. Let me scroll back up. See. Okay, let me get it on here. Screen share. There we go. Okay, move me down to the bottom where I belong. Down here. There we go. Make the picture bigger. There you go. So you get the full Gemma and her Be Kind shirt. And I think we're ready to go. Folks, let me know if there's any sound problems. I mean, I'll be watching, but sometimes I don't get the sound problems you guys get. So let me know. Sometimes I do. A lot of times I do. But I also have YouTube on too. But I have the sound off on that. So here we go. Like I said, if any problems, let me know. If I don't see them first.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new
and
here,
what is up, you guys?
Welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be talking about paranormal encounters experienced by long-haul truckers. Yay! Let's jump right in, as I like to do. There are definitely not many places more isolated, lonely, or creepy as the long and remote roads when traveling as a long-haul trucker. There probably aren't too many people who have seen as much of the strange, bizarre, and even paranormal than them either. There have always been reports of things on the side of the road.
Yeah, I know, Andrew. There's a lot of weird
eyes
stuff.
Glowing, that scary hitchhiker who disappears when they're let out.
Actually,
of the
I think it's about the Ozark Howler.
In white,
so I have to
about
go
the
back
shoulder
and
of the
find it
highways
because I
and
have
crying
them
for the
all
loss
over
of
there.
either her lover or her child, depending on the legends of the areas.
Yeah, this is way older.
I was thinking about this tonight, and
this, like I said, this is 3 years ago.
Creepy encounters
20,
that have come right from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
No,
here are some true stories of experiences these long-haul truckers have claimed to have had while out traveling their routes. There was a trucker who posted his story on an old forum, and I don't want to use his real name, so we'll call him Bob, because why not?
We'll call him Bob.
Bob is a long-haul trucker who works all over the lower 48 states in America. On a
I'm screwing with the screen. I know I am.
2011, he was driving down a dark road near Palestine, Arkansas, coming from Detroit, Michigan,
October 15,
and heading
2021.
to Houston, Texas. He saw a random truck rest stop that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere off of I-40. It was almost like the place didn't belong there. It was so incredibly isolated all around it.
So yeah,
the landscape was wooded but sparse as far as any other buildings or public establishments. He said it was unkempt and filthy looking and, for the most part, pretty uninviting.
Yes.
Despite this, though, he was so incredibly tired
from driving all day,
over he desperately needed to take a long rest. He pulled into the parking lot and decided to see a woman in white traverse.
There we go. I want to make sure you guys get the full story. Okay.
Let's jump right in, as I like to do. There are definitely not many places more isolated, lonely, or creepy as the long and remote roads when traveling as a long-haul trucker. There probably aren't too many people who have seen as much of the strange, bizarre, and even paranormal than them either.
There we go.
There have always been reports of things on the side of the road. Creatures lurking in the woods with eyes glowing, that scary hitchhiker who disappears when they're let out of the truck, or maybe the ghostly woman in white traversing about the shoulder of the highways and crying for the loss of either her lover or her child, depending on the legends of the areas you're driving through. I was thinking about this tonight and decided to give you all some really creepy encounters that have come right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Here are some true stories of experiences these long-haul truckers have claimed to have had while out traveling their routes. There was a trucker who posted his story on an old forum, and I don't want to use his real name, so we'll call him Bob, because why not? Bob is a long-haul trucker who works all over the lower 48 states in America. On a chilly evening of June 2011, he was driving down a dark road near Palestine, Arkansas, coming from Detroit, Michigan, and heading to Houston, Texas. He saw a random truck rest stop that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere off of I-40. It was almost like the place didn't belong there. It was so incredibly isolated all around it. The landscape was wooded but sparse as far as any other buildings or public establishments. He said it was unkempt and filthy looking and, for the most part, pretty uninviting. Despite this, though, he was so incredibly tired from driving all day and he desperately needed to take a long rest. He pulled into the parking lot and decided to sleep right there in his rig. Before he called it a night, though, he went inside the place and got some food, and when he returned to the truck, he put the radio on, ate his meal, and then closed his eyes and started to drift off. Just as he found himself falling asleep, though, he was jolted awake from what at first he thought was an earthquake. His whole huge truck was violently rocking and shaking. The whole thing. The shaking knocked his water off his dashboard and spilled the whole ashtray over as well. Things were flying all over his truck. Because he had been woken up to this, he was pretty shocked and a bit frightened. However, once he gathered his senses about him and the shaking stopped, he thought to himself in his head that it must have been the wind. See how we as human beings can immediately tend to rationalize things like this? There is no way what he was describing could have been caused by wind unless there was a hurricane going on all around him, and I assure you this was not the case. I bring your attention to this because I talk about it all the time, most recently in my demonic possession video, the constant need for rationalization instead of allowing ourselves to just understand the moment and conclude it has to be something more. Our rational mind trying to make us believe irrational things, nonsensical reasoning from our brain trying for us to make sense of something. Anyways, back to Bob. The very second he had this thought, however, about it being the wind, it was almost like whatever it was has read his mind and was responding to him. The truck started shaking again, and this time it was even more violently than before. Finally, he decided to get out of the rig and see what was going on for himself. When he stepped out of the cab, though, he noticed it was really quiet. The night was still, almost too still, actually. He says that he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye at the back of the truck, low to the ground at about 4 feet off the ground. Slow movement. He describes, quote, "I used my keys to unlock the passenger side door, jumped up and grabbed my large flashlight from an overhead storage compartment. I climbed back down and closed and locked the door," end of quote. He then goes on to explain in more detail what it was he saw. He did acknowledge that as a long-haul truck driver, he sees, quote, "something new every day," end of quote, but wasn't really sure what to expect. Surely something causing that much disruption and violent shaking of his gigantic truck would be large enough he would have seen it right away. He said when he shone his flashlight in the field behind his truck, he saw a young girl standing there, about 10 feet away from him. He blinked and she was gone. He then shone his light all over the field and around him in every direction, but he didn't see her. He said he honestly thought he was half asleep still and maybe partially dreaming. I mean, as we all know too well, stranger things have happened. As he looked around, Bob noticed there were no cars at the gas pumps, and the clerk wasn't even looking in his direction, let alone close enough to have been playing some kind of weird and ill-timed joke on him. Wouldn't this guy have noticed the giant rig shaking so violently, though? I mean, he was pretty close. He looked around for about 5 more minutes to see if he could find either the girl or some other culprit for what had woken him up with the shaking, but no luck. Maybe he thought he was just overtired and his mind had been playing tricks on him. Again, with the rationalization, just saying. People rationalize things that make even less sense than seeing a ghost, in my opinion. Anyway, as he was climbing back into his truck, believe it or not, he was going to try to go back to sleep. He claims to have heard a little girl's giggle coming from right behind him. Close enough he could almost feel a presence touching him. But of course, when he turned around as quickly as he could, there was no one there. He claims that he said aloud, quote, "This is getting kind of creepy," end of quote, which got a reply in a girl's voice, quote, "He heard me," end of quote. This time, though, the voice came from inside of his truck. He said there was no way possible that anyone could have possibly slipped past him and gotten inside of his rig. So why was there a girl's voice coming from inside the truck? As he leaned his head into the truck one last time to see if he could see anyone, to see if someone somehow had impossibly slipped past him without him noticing, he heard that same distinct little girl voice say, "Good night." Only this also came from inside the truck. He frantically and in a complete panic basically tore his whole interior apart, looking for who could have been talking to him. There was definitely no one there. He said he quickly got himself into the truck and locked up all the doors. He was downright scared at this point. He said of what happened next, quote, "I turned the key and heard my truck's motor rumble to life, along with the familiar annoying buzzing that was my air pressure gauge telling me that I didn't have enough air to release the brakes. I took a furtive glance out the window, and there she stood, still as a tree, looking up at me and smiling. I didn't want to get any closer to the window until I was ready to get my truck moving. This was wrong, and I didn't want any part of this. That girl wasn't human. At least not anymore, she wasn't. It was almost as if she was something so inhuman that would take the form of a human. It's hard for me to explain, and I feel sick just thinking about it. I heard the siren shut off and hit the valves to supply air to my brake system. As the system began to air up, the siren came on again." End of quote. As he sped as fast as he could out of that parking lot, he made the mistake of glancing in his rearview mirror. Of course, there she was, the eerie ghost girl in all of her glory, a sickening grin on her face as she waved a slow wave goodbye to him, seeming to look right into his eyes as though she knew he had looked back to see if she was there. This isn't where Bob's encounter ends, though. He drove for about 45 minutes, probably breaking speed limits the entire way by his own admission. He eventually calmed himself down enough and felt he was far enough away from what he had just experienced and decided to pull into another, more well-lit and much cleaner-looking rest stop. He still needed sleep after all, now more than ever, really. He said he felt like he had just been through some sort of really harrowing and extreme ordeal. In a way, I guess he had been too. He remembered that at the last truck stop, the one where he had encountered the ghost girl or whatever it was, he had brought a postcard that had a picture of the state of Arkansas on it and a new knife. He hadn't taken the knife out of the box and had put the postcard away in a drawer for safekeeping. When he looked over to his nightstand, however, the knife was stuck into the postcard right in the area where he had just been at that rest stop where he encountered the ghost girl. He claims the blade was really driven deep in there too, leaving a deep cut in his wooden nightstand. He finishes his tale with, quote, "It took me several minutes just to work the knife loose enough to withdraw it from the nightstand. Thankfully, when I turned the postcard over, no messages had been left for me. I threw that postcard away and tossed the knife into a dumpster. To this day, I don't know what I saw." End of quote. So let's talk about this for a minute. What in the world do you all think that this could have been? I have my ideas, and of course, I'll share them here, but let me know if you agree or disagree or think something else altogether. I think it could have definitely been a ghost, a lost spirit who died suddenly somehow in the area and hung around, as we know spirits sometimes do. I wish he would have thought to investigate, like, Was there a girl murdered at some point in that area who fit this girl's profile? I mean, who knows? Maybe he did think about it but was too afraid, or for some other unknown reason decided not to seek out answers. I guess because I've been dealing with these things my entire life and am so used to it, it always blows my mind when someone is able to just let these things go. Don't get me wrong, I let a lot of it go every single day of my life, but if I had only had one experience or even just a handful, I think I would really want to know. I know many of you are psychic in some way, but for those of you who don't see spirit regularly or have never had an encounter, if this happened to you, would you be able to just dismiss it and drive off? Go right on living your life like that? I guess it's more common than I realize, that comfort in not ever knowing. But I digress. There is another reported paranormal trucker encounter from a user on a forum dedicated completely to truckers and these types of encounters. I won't name his name, and the post has since been taken down. This guy was on a trucking mission known as a, quote, meet and turn, which is when one person hauls the cargo halfway to the final destination and meets up with another trucker who loads it up into his truck and takes it the rest of the way. So he had done this many times before, and it was a regular part of his job. He says he arrived at 3 in the morning, an hour early, and had to sit in his truck in what he described as a, quote, dark, empty lot, end of quote, until the other guy got there. Already, this is pretty creepy. There was no one else in sight, let alone in the lot with him. No people out at this hour, no businesses around anywhere the eye could see, at least not a single other vehicle at all in the parking lot. He was completely and totally alone and isolated in his truck. He decided, quite logically, to kill time until the other guy got there by taking a nap. It makes perfect sense at 3 a.m. after driving what was probably all day. But, like our buddy Bob in the last story, his rest didn't go quite as planned, and he was rudely interrupted as well. He claims that about 10 minutes into his nap, he was woken up by the sudden barking of what sounded like a large dog. He tried to ignore it and stay asleep, but he couldn't because he realized the bark was becoming louder and louder as the seconds ticked by, and he knew the dog was getting closer and closer. For some reason he couldn't explain, he said he felt like this dog was trying to alert him of something, and that's why the bark had been so loud and persistent. This didn't make much sense to him at the time, but he describes it as what he somehow, quote, just knew. He finally looked out of his window and was shocked and aghast at what he saw there. A grown man stood right outside the glass of his driver's side window. He was about 35 years of age and standing completely motionless, eyes glazed over and mouth hanging half open with something that looked like foam coming from his mouth. He was eerily and unnaturally still and motionless. This guy was huge, though, the trucker recounting the story remembered. He describes the rest of his experience like this, quote, the sheer creepiness struck me, and gently, without making any sudden movements, I reached down and started my truck and slowly started pulling away. As I was doing so, he was chasing after me, much like you would expect an angry dog, and still barking as I kept pulling away. Needless to say, I don't take naps on the job anymore, end quote. The next encounter we are going to be talking about today is somewhat similar to the one we just discussed. It took place while the person was driving from Albuquerque to Socorro, New Mexico. This ride is about 78 miles long. As he was driving down a lonely stretch of road, something suddenly caught his eye on the side of the road. He slowed down to look and saw some kind of very tall figure just lurking around. At first glance, he said he thought it was just some man walking along, but then he said he realized that, quote, nothing about the guy seemed natural, end of quote. He described the man as lanky and wearing a gray suit. He also said his movements were, quote, odd. He stated, quote, his face had a mask on or something. For half a second, I closed my eyes and then noticed he was looking at me. The headlight of the truck was blinding him, and he still was looking at me, not the truck. It really was creepy. Thankfully, he was just standing there, and he didn't actually do anything out of the ordinary. It's definitely one of my spookiest road stories to tell. It's really hard to say, end quote. Were these last two men dealing with ghosts of some sort? Was it paranormal in nature at all? It's really hard to say. I mean, these two could have encountered just some weirdos out and about at night. It does happen. And I don't mean weirdos like our tribe either. Someone barking and foaming at the mouth, glaring at you from directly outside your window, or some lone man in a suit on the side of the road wearing a mask. I mean, I don't know. Either way, they are creepy as hell to me. I have another encounter I want to recount for you guys in this video before we get to the last one, and there will be plenty more if you all want there to be as well, so be sure and let me know in the comments. Moving on. This was also written and recounted in a forum solely for truckers to come in and share their experiences. This witness says he was driving to work at 3:30 in the morning on a stretch of isolated and dark back road in Mississippi, right on the Louisiana border. The road had no lines and it was raining a little bit, so the road was also quite slick. He was only doing about 35 miles an hour. He claimed the road was, quote, dangerous enough in the daytime under normal conditions, end quote. He claims he was driving along and completely out of nowhere, a jet black horse leapt from out of the woods on the side of the road and landed on a side trail that led from the road back into the woods. He also claims that atop the horse there was a rider, complete with a hooded black cloak and everything. He described the horse as moving at full speed and even remembered how the rider's cloak was whipping around in the wind. He then explains, quote, they must have ran for a quarter mile or so and then darted off down another side trail and disappeared into the darkness. A buddy was riding with me and I looked over at him and he looked over at me and we both said something along the lines of, did you effing see that? End of quote. And here's our last encounter for this particular video, though I have a feeling I can make a fairly long, if not never-ending series on these accounts and encounters. Anyways, this person says he was driving along. Same thing here. He was on some lonely stretch of highway at night in the middle of the night with not much lighting and nobody else around driving anywhere. It's best I just quote this one. It's short. Quote, I had slowed to about 40 miles per hour when out of nowhere appeared this freakishly tall figure of a man in a black buttoned-up trench coat and a round black sombrero standing on the white line of the two-lane road. He must have been at least 6'7" or 7 feet tall. My partner and I watched, and he didn't even flinch as the rig passed by. I swear, the side mirrors must have missed his head by only a couple of inches. My partner and I looked at each other with our eyes wide open and screamed, did you see that? What the F was that? I swear, our skin crawled, and we were both in kind of shock. I couldn't stop thinking about it for a couple of days, end quote. A couple of days? Okay. Who just forgets a dude in a sombrero on the side of the road? Were these paranormal? Not so sure. I know Bob's encounter definitely was, in my opinion, but they are creepy and they very well could have been. So what do you all think of the last two? A deathly rider, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, a demon, an angel of death, something extraterrestrial? Let me know what you all think in the comments below, please, because I'm really interested to see what you all have to say. If you guys have any of your own experiences or encounters with the supernatural and or paranormal that you want me to share on my listener encounters series, please feel free to email me at GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com.
And please,
Also,
she
for
still
any other
takes encounters.
correspondence,
So if you folks have
and if you would
encounters from
like
people coming
a
and going, if you've got
personal free
encounters,
reading
please send them
with
to
a link
her
for gift
so we can get some
donation,
new listener
please be sure
encounters.
and give this video a
Because I
big
know if she
thumbs
gets
up.
more of
Subscribe if you
those,
haven't already,
she
and
may
spread
do a
the
video.
love by sharing this
But right
video.
now, her uploads are,
Information in the description box, so
her
please check
stuff's
it
going
out.
to
If you haven't
basically
caught
be
a live stream
shorts
yet, I do 3 a week,
and
one on Wednesday
streams.
nights right here on
So,
this channel, which
but
starts
I'm
at
sure
around
if she
7,
gets enough
7:15
listener encounters,
p.m. Eastern time, and I do
we can
live
get another
oracle
video of this
readings.
because I love
Check it
the
out. If you like it,
encounters
come on
of
in.
any type.
Same thing
I
with
love
Friday night
listening to
campfire
the
stories
stories.
over on Missing
I
Persons and
have some
Mysteries with Steve
that I've not
Stallman,
done a very
Gemma,
good job
and
doing
usually the panel
during
is
story
Jess,
time. I'm going to
and
shut
Sunday
this
night's
down.
fireside chat, just me and Steve,
Let
just
me
Gemma
switch
and
here.
you guys talking about things and stuff and
And then I
things,
want to
nothing and
comment on
everything
something
all
about
at once,
Andrew said.
times and all that stuff in the description box.
Stop.
Also, PayPal.
Okay, there we go. And let me stop sharing. And we all know that. How did I get so big? Oh, because I have it big. Let me go small again. I like to be a little bolder here. That was weird. Oh, I did that last time too. Okay, let me pull this up and get the next video going. Well, get it ready in case we decide to do it. I don't think I'll do that 54-minute one. Now, I did it. How old is that? That's only a year old. I want to try to keep them old. Because she did another one about alien hybrids a year ago, and I'm wondering if I should do it. I think it's kind of like a part 2. Let me see if we did the first one. Because I know that one was kind of... Wait, where'd it go? Yeah, she did a whole bunch of those. I forgot about that. Okay. Well, let me find the one, the 2 I was thinking about doing. I don't know if I'll do the one that's kind of long. I'll save that for like a next Saturday. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, I was going to do portals and time rifts in the woods. If everybody's up to that one. Or where's the other one? I can do something alien. I can't see chat, so I gotta move so I can see chat. One second. Talk amongst yourselves while I pick up the next one. Yeah, I think I'll do the portal ones because she's got 2 portal ones that I didn't do from the last time we did the older ones. I think I'm going to do, but I can't remember I did them because when they updated YouTube, it took away some of the ones that I viewed already because I have ones marked that we've already watched, and it kind of screwed me up. Oh, okay. Since we were talking about Bigfoot and all that crazy stuff. One second, Scott. You guys want to do Stalked in the Woods by Bigfoot? I mean, you have a permission to ask a favor, I guess. Yeah, you do. I don't know who you're asking the favor from, but yeah, go ahead. I'm good. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll do that one next. Let me put this down. We'll have a little talk because that one's not very long. Now, while Skyly is typing, yeah, I'm sure you've been on all those highways, but I'm trying to catch up because I missed that on some chat here. So give me a second. Yeah, any type of Hat Man encounter, they I think feed off feeling they know weakness and stuff, so they'll connect to you. No, yelling at them is not usually a good idea and getting kind of. But most people, if they show a little faith and very little fear, they could usually walk away and not worry about an attachment or it following them, or just not even acknowledging it is the best thing. If you don't acknowledge it, you're doing great. Okay, let me catch up here. Now, Black Dragon says something. Mr. Dragon said something. Sir Dragon. Dragon? Here are tales from Truck. Oh, yeah, I have a ton of tales, too. Man, when my dad worked for Wonder Bread, he would go on service calls. But I'd go over to the garage. And between the guys that ran the bread trucks out to these rural stores and the guys that ran the semis, we had to go work on them out on the road. Man, some of those stories. And then I got to hanging out at truck stops when we were younger, when I was really into this stuff, even more than I am now. I'm still into it, but I'm just so busy. Some of the stories these truck drivers tell are just crazy. And you look at them like, nah. You're funning me, man. But you can see it in their faces. And I missed a lot of chat, so you have to forgive me. I've had my Hat Man encounter, so I know about Hat Man. He does. Yes, I've heard Hat Man encounters where he's wearing a baseball hat. I've heard encounters where he's like wearing a fedora, cowboy hats. The guy I saw was wearing one of those wide brim hats. I've heard quite a few. The one I encountered had the brim hat. I've seen him a couple. I saw him about a few months ago at the store behind one of the cashiers, and he was looking at me with that damn smile. I left the store. I paid and left. I ran. You should see me running my cart out of there. People thought I was nuts or something. I was gone. I just didn't want to deal with it because I was not in the mood. I-65 is an interesting road too. 70, I-65. The other ones you talked about, 93. There's a couple of them. There's some rural roads too here in Ohio that I tell people, if you're a faint of heart or you're afraid of stuff, you don't go on because you'll not know what to expect. Now, Scully, did you ever ask your question or your favor? I'm trying to get cut up. Oh yeah, that was a good one. I thought she had another one. I thought she did two of them. I think because I thought she did one after you were more prominent in chat. I'll have to go back and look later. But I think actually it was during listener encounters. I think it was one of your encounters. Didn't you send her a couple of encounters? That might have been it. I'll have to go back and look and review. A lot of times I do that Saturday or when, like right before I go to bed, Friday nights. So I kind of have an idea what I'm going to do tonight. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I've never had an Hat Man encounter, but I wear many hats. I do too. I don't mind baseball hats. If I'm wearing a baseball hat, it's 2-1 and I've been busy all day. My hair's a mess. That's why a lot of times on these nights, you'll see me wearing a baseball hat because I'm running. Now, there's been a few nights. I don't think I had one the other night. But we all wear many hats. But I knew what you meant. I wear many hats too, more than a lot of people realize. A lot more than a lot of people realize. Skylar, you still there? You kind of disappeared. Or are you typing? Let us know you're there. We're all waiting. But anyways, yeah, I'll put the next one up. I think we're going to do that Bigfoot one. Other stories of resurrection. Married people drop her off at the gate and she disappeared. That is a very popular incident. Happens a lot, and a lot more than people say. There are a ton of encounters of Resurrection Mary. There's Green Lawn Cemetery that's just south of me. It's south of downtown. It's one of the oldest cemeteries around. A lot of old families are there. Big cemetery, but it's been around. Like this cemetery here, there are Civil War graves in my cemetery in the back. Quite a few of them. Anyways, there is a story there about a young boy. Now, the ages that people say says between 9 and 12. That is often seen standing at the gate during the day and night. And when people go to approach him, he's gone. There's also a military cemetery on Sullivan Avenue that is, it's lit up, and even during the night, it's lit up. It's by the old, what was it? What military was it? Oh, man, I drew a blank again. But anyways, used to be a camp, a camp, and it's got graves. And you can stand on the wall and look over the wall. And I'm going to have to go back one night during a nice warm summer. And people say, if you be patient long enough and just not say anything and just hold your camera, or a lot of people say to use older cameras, you get a better chance of picking something up, which I'm beginning to believe. People are picking up all kinds of stuff with their cell phones, but sometimes an older camera is the best way to go. And anyways, they say if you set it there and just not pay attention, but stay with it because it's not in the best area. Eventually you'll pick something up. There are a lot of shadows. I've seen them. I used to live on that road, and you can hear voices on the other side of the wall talking, and it's weird. and we're talking late night, late night, and that place is locked up tighter than a drum at night. We have some wicked haunted cemeteries in Nebraska. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure anything. I would say, well, from here out west, I know stuff are crazy, but most cemeteries have great stories. Um, does anybody know the cemetery that has the statue of the Black Angel? I guess that place is really creepy. I keep seeing stories about it, but I keep forgetting to write down the name of the place. But I've seen pictures of it. It's creepy. But I want to check that place out. Actually, there's a cemetery that the Pope won't even fly over. He makes them go around. It says it's the gate of hell. Shows you that my mind's going to mind. I couldn't even get good old Black Dragon, what he was saying earlier. Skyly, did you leave? 1 minute you were asking something, and then you disappeared. Are you still here, hon? I feel bad because I was just trying to set up for my next bit. I have a big favor. I have a favor, and I know it's a big ask. Okay. Do I have permission to ask a favor? Yes, you do. Ask away. Did you leave? Gemma, if you're listening, Gemma, reach out to her. Okay. You had me worried there, woman. We're listening now before I start my next upload. Go ahead and ask. If we can help you, we will. I see you, hon. I see you, Skyly. There's a cemetery in Georgia that has a statue of a little girl. Oh, I've heard about that one. My ex's uncle lived in Georgia. And actually, his wife, one night we were sitting. She wasn't a very nice lady. She was kind of, I really didn't care for her. But we got to talking the night before we left down there. Come head back up. We went down to visit. Not to talk ill of her. She just was not a very friendly person. Not very sociable. Anyways, I was shocked. We were sitting having coffee, and I don't know, brought the subject up, and she started talking about the little girl's, the statue of the little girl that cries in the graveyard. So she must either live by there or knew the story, but apparently she witnessed it too. I think that was the only time that me and her really connected. What do you need 9 people for? Do you need to subscribe? You need subscribers? Is that what you need, honey? Hold on a second, sweetie. I got to be careful because you're young and I'm an old guy and I don't want anybody taking anything the wrong way. Thank God Gemma's my boss. It took it away. What? Let me see. I'm going to go to your channel, see what happened here. You have 41 subscribers. 87 videos? Really? Or are those shorts? Wow, okay. For folks, if you don't mind subscribing to the young lady. Well, she's a boss. She is literally a girl boss. She's my Jersey boss, but she's not my boss. I love her dearly. She's a great lady. She's my bestie. And she does give me a hard time. Yeah, she's pretty awesome. Well, I wouldn't be on her channel if I didn't think she was. I mean, she pretty much kind of talked me into this. I'll subscribe. I hadn't done that yet. There you go. And let me do this. Okay. Here you go. There you go, sweetie. That is the link to your channel. And hopefully some of these good folks will go and check it out and sub and subscribe. Leave some more likes for you. There you go. Sound good, sweetie? The only two you really got to watch out for Cryptid Ride is the Fae and the little people. Yeah, well, the little people are part of the Fae. So those two will cause you some. Yeah, and I know plenty of stories. Well, not plenty of stories. I have a good handful of stories, not only from relatives, but friends from the South and up north and across the ocean that will tell you these stories. Now, the black-eyed kids, until somebody can prove that they've actually had them in the house, and they've done well. I go in. That's kind of hard to say how bad the black-eyed kids are. Just scary. We don't know how malevolent they really are, and the one I see in the hospital is a lot different. Apparently, a lot different than the ones they see on the streets. Like I said, I thought I found 2 people, but the other person kind of disappeared on me. And the other person I still talk to. We talk about once every couple of weeks. Actually, I just saw him when I went in for testing at the hospital. The link isn't working for you. I put that in there. Hold on. It didn't work at all. Because I don't want to put it in there, Vixen. But anyways, he doesn't see the same one I see. And he said he first saw him when he was stuck in a nursing home for therapy. He had surgery. And he said this one wore just jeans, and it looked like a kind of off-white shirt with a black tie. And he said it really freaked him out. Black hair, pear face, the whole eye area here was solid black. And he says he was very real. Because he said he still swears there was a lady trying to talk to it in the hallway with a cane. And he said he saw it there, and then he started seeing him in other places, like other nursing homes. Because after he healed up, he worked for nursing home. Well, he was kind of like he did things for nursing home. And then he went back to the hospital, got sick again, went back to the hospital, and kept seeing in the hospital. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He goes, that's why I have a place I go on the deep web, where I go talk to people that's a little more cryptic, that don't like to talk in public. And that's where I met him, because I posted something about, has anybody seen this type of black-eyed kid? I don't do 4chan or any of that. Okay, now let me see. Windy. Okay, now let me get back and check. The link won't work for me. I will find. Oh, I'll find it. Hold on. Link won't work for me. Okay, let me find out what's going on here. Because I went to her actual channel. It should have worked. Oops. Because I went, hold on. If you, folks, here, let's do this way. If you go by her name and you'll see there's 3 buttons, if you click it, it may say, if you're like wrench or anything, it can say go to channel. Click the 3 dots and it will say, channel activity, blah, blah, blah. But it will say go to channel and then you can go there and subscribe. I don't know why that link didn't do, because that's how I got to her channel, was I just clicked go to channel. It pops right up. I don't know why the link didn't work. Can't even say link. But there you go. We'll get you some subscriptions. 4chan, I used to like 4chan, but it got weird. But there is good stuff there. I still am part of 4chan, but I don't go to it too much anymore. But man, I'll tell you what, you find some good stuff if you really want to go digging around. But you also see some crazy people. And it's pretty well kind of observed now. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay, let me try something different here. Because let me see what happens when I do it. Why'd it go there? Oh, it went to mine. I clicked the wrong link. That is my fault. I basically just went to myself. Here, let me remove that. Remove. Ding dong daddy-o. Hold on, let me try again, okay? That was my fault. It's such a goof. Okay. Shall we try again? Paste. I'm going to try it too to make sure it works. Okay, click. Okay, let me try it to make sure it works. I'm going to post it. No, it keeps sending it back to me. Why is it doing that? Hold on. I don't know why it's doing that. Usually it's let me do it before. Let me try something here. Go to channel. Aha, that's why. Let's see. Okay, I got it now. I'm going to fix it yet. That's wild. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I was trying. Okay, you found her? There we go. For some reason, it's not letting me go to her channel. Why is it not? Keeps taking me somewhere else. I see her shorts, but it's not. Oh, here we go. Let's try this again. There we go. I got it. Ding dong daddy oh me. There we go. Paste. Click. No. It's doing it again. It's not letting me for some reason. Huh. Yeah, and right now I'm the only mod in the room. Let me find out. There's got to be a way I can do this. Because every time I go to click it, it keeps taking me back to me. Ah, you ding dong quit. Yes, you are correct, Black Dragon. I found her. Hey, Andrew, if you found the link, you got a wrench. Plop it in here for folks, for the little lady, for the young lady. You're welcome. Hey, we tried. But for some reason, it's every time I go to put it, I have it, I paste it, I put it in the chat, and for some reason, it just, when you click it, it takes me back to me. I don't get it. So, I don't know. I've never had that happen before. I'm going to have to figure out why it does that. You're welcome, Skyly. Yeah, Andrew's a mob. He should be able to put it in. They should. Once Andrew copies and pastes and puts it in, people can get in. You know, it's like Gemma Jade. I don't think people realize there's a couple other Gemma Jades here on YouTube. Yes, you are more than welcome. And so we're always willing to help people bump up their subscriptions. Yes, all you do, Land, and you know what to do, Andrew. You just go up to the your browser bar. When you click on her, go to her home page, then go up to where you typed it in at, not on YouTube, but on your browser page, and copy and paste that link into the chat, and it should take them right to her homepage. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't know what you're using. I don't know if you're using a laptop or your phone. So if not, Skyly, what I'll do is I always, at the end of the night, after I sign off and stuff, I always come in and leave a comment in my own comments, thanking everybody for showing up and all the people that watch replays. And I'll put it in that. Oh, you have Google? I just didn't know if you were using a laptop or if you were using your phone or iPad. But yeah, usually if you just go to YouTube and pull it up and pull Skyly up and then find her and then go to her homepage, and then in your browser you'll see the link that took you there. You just copy and paste that into there. That should be the YouTube link because it will fix itself right when you put it in there. Every time I copy and paste it, and every time I put it into the chat, it switched over to mine. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Why is it doing that? I was going to try again because I should be able to click her name and go to her channel. And that link on the top in the browser bar should be the link for her channel. And as soon as, let me try again. This time it did it right. Like I said, YouTube and StreamYard are having some problems. They said they fixed it, but I'm still noticing stuff. Copy. Now it went right back to, as soon as I did it, it went right back to my link. Why is it doing that? Everybody, let me check that and make sure it's good. And Jim, thank you so much for your help, Andrew. Yeah, I think he's. Oh, you clicked on Gemma Jade's. Yeah, you just clicked on Gemma's. So that's the wrong Gemma Jade too. That's a different Gemma Jade. That's one of the other ones. She does beauty stuff. Don't be advertising for that woman. Remove that, Andrew. That's a wrong Gemma Jade. But yeah, there's kind of a few of them, I thought. I knew there was at least two. Casey, hello, dear. Oh, thank you, Casey. You were watching me, weren't you, you little sneaky woman? I hope you are I hope you are well, dear. Little tongue-tied. Casey, yep. She's that secret hero that pops in every so often. Hi, hon. How are you doing, sweetie? I've been meaning to text you, so forgive me. You can yell at me anytime you want. Even though I'm a busy guy with doing everything like you, don't be afraid to yell. I do my best to get right back to people. I need to get a hold of Ryan. Me and him have been trying to hook up for a while now. Thank you so much, Casey. You're making me look bad, and I'm glad you did. Bless you, little lady. I truly hope you're well and doing good. Welcome. I'm hanging in there, just listening. You guys make me smile. Good. Thank you. And I'm glad we can make you smile. These guys make me smile. Like I said, it's been a weird kind of day, so I'm glad I streamed tonight because like last Wednesday I wasn't in the best mood, and Saturday before that there's just a lot going on, and I'm either just, it's not that I'm vibrating low, it's just too much at me at once sometimes. But yes, honey, you can text me anytime. I love talking to you. You may hear from me in the next couple of days since you showed up in my chat. Well, actually, Gemma's chat, but I'm about ready to catch up with you. I need to catch up with Lotus too. I have to check in with her. I haven't checked in with her for a little bit, but she like all of us. She said, well, you guys all got stuff going on. But bless you, and thank you so much, Casey, for helping us and for listening. You shocked me. Kind of be-stilled my heart there, little lady. Vixen. Hey, Joshua, how are you? Yep, I know he's your boyfriend. He's here already. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, folks. Welcome, Joshua. Good to see you. These androids are... Yeah. Well, it's like every time I did it, I kept going right back to my... It kept showing me up in stream. I'm like, what the heck? You made me laugh. Yeah, well, I do that a lot of people, and that's not and that's not even trying. That's just being me. Now you know why Gemma calls me Goofus sometimes. I am a Goofus. I'm a lovable Goofus. I'm just a Goofus. I'm the real version of Goofy. I'm a kid at heart. I still have all my toys. When I moved back in, I was so bummed. I had all my original G.I. Joes, the big ones that were worth major money, all packed away nice and neatly upstairs. I moved back in with my dad after Mom passed, and to help him out, I found out he broke the news to me that Mom had donated into the church years ago. I sat in this room and cried for almost an hour. Oh, my G.I. Joe. I mean, I had Jeeps. I had the base camp. I had Big Jim. I had a bunch of superhero ones. I had a Godzilla that I used to play in the backyard, and I had to around the tree, all the roots trimmed out, and I'd have them smash in Matchbox cars and everything. And I kept them all nice and neat and clean. I'd bring them in and clean them. But yeah, I'm just a big kid at heart. But Casey, yeah, please yell anytime. I need to get, like I said, I need to check in with Lotus too. I usually try to do that every couple of Sundays, so I'll probably yell at her tomorrow if I get a chance. I got a busy day tomorrow. I got to pick up some drywall. Supposed to do it this morning, but my whole day just turned out to be a crazy frenzy. And then I rushed 8. Now I'm paying for it. Then sometimes I'm more than tired than others doing the Mercury retrograde. I'm tired more than I care to realize. Yeah, I know that story. What sucks is when you're tired and you just can't sleep. The problem I have a lot of times is my brain gets tired, but my body doesn't want to stop. So I have to stay up until either my body slows down enough that my brain can sleep. I hadn't had a bad day. Transformers, and they didn't have Transformers when I was little, so, and the GoBots. But I do have Transformers and GoBots. My oldest, Ashley, you all know Baby Dragon. My oldest, I was positive she was going to be a boy. So I went out and quietly bought a bunch of Transformers. I bought the bug ones and stuff. I had a bunch of them, some GoBots from Kmart and all that. I bought a bunch of stuff. Well, thank God I finally had a boy two times later after my daughter Sammy. So I ended up having 2 girls and a boy. My day was boring. I wish mine was. It wasn't. It was crazy. Hello, Norland. How are you? I hope you're having a good night. I'm getting ready to do another Gemma replay in a couple minutes. I'm just letting everybody's talking and having a good time. If you go back and watch, we just did one on long haul. Now I can't even say it. Long haul hauler. Well, let's just say truck drivers, creepies, encounters. And the next one I'm going to do here in a minute is Stalked in the Woods by Bigfoot. We'll start that here in a minute. How you doing, Norland, too? Hope you're well. Having a good weekend. Thank you for stopping in. Like I said, all you people coming and going, please hit that like button, share, come back and hang out for a little bit. I'm getting ready to start the next upload. And you guys are, talk and have a good time while we're watching it. No different than a premiere. It's basically my way of giving premiere videos uploads to premieres they didn't get today. We are all family here, that's for sure. We are all, that's way for sure. That is way for sure. I got it. You got what? What'd you get? My YouTube family for sure. Well, you're welcome. Oh, it did. You got Gemmas. Did you get the right one this time? Yeah, you got it. Yep, this is a link to her homepage, Gemma's homepage. Would you put it in twice more? You want to? Yeah. No, you're crazy, Andrew. You got to be tired too, aren't you? How long have you been driving today before I start our next video? How long were you on the road? Yeah, they are touchy. They are very touchy. I Actually, my son made me get the Apple. I kind of liked my Android. The only problem was the battery sucked on it. It got to the point where it even recharged. It wouldn't even charge. And I didn't want to get a whole new phone, but it was such a good phone. And another thing is I don't use half the stuff on this. I really don't. Oh, here's my doggy. I don't know if you can see him. What's this? TikTok. There's Puppy. There's Puff. 533 miles. I started at 1 in the morning Pacific time and got done after 4 p.m. Oh man, that's a good drive, dude. That's a good drive. Where'd you come from? Now, where you at? Would you say you were at now? You did say. I don't remember. And then where did you come from? Where are you at now? And then where did you come from? I'm being nosy. Well, I know you support Gemma. And I thank you for that, Scotty. I support Gemma too. That's why I'm here. Kind of filling some time for her and kind of help keep views going on her channel. I don't know what really I bring in, but we seem to have a good time doing it. So let's just keep doing it until she either kicks my butt out or burns me in the back out. Vega, Texas is where I'm at now. Oh, really? Now, where'd you come from? Did you come? Vega, Texas. Where is that at? Is that like mid-Texas? I've never heard of Vega. But then again, I've never been to Texas. I always wanted to go, though. I want to go to Arizona, too. And then I want to go to the other couple. I want to go to, never been to Yellowstone. I want to go to Yellowstone. I want to go see Mount Shasta. Yeah, Black Dragon is great. Andrew's great. Everybody in here has got a great sense of humor. I'm a little worried that Edna didn't pop in Friday night and tonight. I hope she's well. I know she's hurting. This weather, like a lot of us older folks, tends to hurt our bones. And I know she was feeling it Wednesday night because she was supposed to be my guest Wednesday night and she just was hurting. But at least she came in and hung out with us and chat. Yeah, Jules kind of comes and goes. She basically she comes in here every so often and pops in and says hi. So does Smoochie. KC blew my mind tonight. So KC, if you're still watching, you blew my mind. Her daughter came in one night and was just a joy to talk to. KC's daughter. Darling Deb, I don't know if she's ever been in one of my streams. But Jules pops in. That mom pops in once in a while. Me and Edna go way back. I think I've known Edna now on YouTube now for at least 6, 7 years. I met Edna in Stockton's, and that was even way before Gemma wandered. And then I stumbled onto Gemma only because I stumbled on this video of this poor Jersey woman having trouble with a scam. I sat through the video and giggled and I go, I bet she's a sweetie. And the next thing I know, I followed her, and it's when she was doing her stuff for addiction, trying to help people and give information. And then I watched her switch over because I was around when YouTube was giving her. I wasn't talking to her personally yet, but I was around when YouTube kind of forced her out of that, and it's when she started doing the missing cases and the 411s. And then later on, Steve came in, and I don't want to go into all that. I met Edna on Steve's channel also. Yeah, I remember Black Dragon when he used to come in. That's like Jules. That's like poor old what's her name? Now I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. I hope she's good. I haven't seen her in ages. I can't think of her name now. It'll come to me. Me and her. I sent in some of my encounters with the strange. Must have scared. No, Gemmers. No, actually, she waits till she gets a bunch of them. Norland too. So she tries to get a bunch of them and make it worth the video. But her Monday's videos have been kind of lacking in views. So she's Ann Palmer. Thank you. I hate that when it's on the tip of your tongue. Yeah, I think about her quite a bit. Me and you, when he used to do the books, when the copyrights went out and he used to play the book readings over during the night, me and her, I know a bunch of others would come in and go, and she would always be there and we'd talk. I hope she's well. If anybody sees her, tell her we say hi. And I hope Pam Smith is okay. That night that she came in here, she stirred the pot, but she was going through a lot. And I hope she's okay and doing all right. And found her way. Anyways. Yeah, that's a lot of it in Norland too. She tries to get a bunch of them to make it worth, she says people complain when her video uploads are longer than 20 minutes, but they get views, especially the listener encounters. Yeah, I do too. Were you here that night she came in, Black Dragon? And kind of, I don't want to say freaked out. She was going through something. And I wasn't trying to be mean to her, but she wouldn't let anybody talk to her. She was just all over the place. And then was trying to make me off as a bad guy, which didn't work. I think it was too. Edna was really upset with her. Vixen was in there trying to help. Bless you ladies were trying so hard to get her to calm down. Then Edna started finally getting upset. But I hope she's well, and I hope she finds a way. I think she stopped in once during one of the readings and said hi. One of the Oracle nights. But it was like real quick. But I hope she's well. And safe. Let's go ahead and start this next one. But Norland too, I will say something to her. If I'm pretty sure I'll probably talk to her tomorrow. And I'll ask, in fact, why I'm thinking about, because I write everything down. Where's my pen? There it is. Well, no, where did my pen go? Oh. There it is. And I write this down. One second, folks. I don't mean to leave dead air. Yeah, because I know she's gonna try to back off a little bit on the uploads and just do streaming and shorts. But hopefully she can get enough of the encounters that I know if she gets enough encounters, she definitely will probably do another listener encounters, because those are one of my favorite. I love listening to encounters. I like listening to encounters probably more than anything. It's like reading a book, but you know that there's some truth to it. Or, I mean, some encounters people tell you, right off rip. But, I mean, you'll know if you watch a person well enough, you can tell if it's legit or not. I took off this morning from Meteor Crater, Arizona, rest area, eastbound. Oh, you slept in a rest area? I have no problem with you guys doing that. But I've heard some crazy stories. That's where I've heard a lot of the truckers' crazy stories, is at the actual rest stories. Now, the one that happened, the guy told me about at the Pennsylvania Turnpike was he told me that story while I was coming home from Gemma's and stopped at this one rest area. There was like hardly it was set up in there and going back west. It's kind of set up on the hill, kind of tucked in. There was hardly like anybody there. And it was middle of the day, and I would go in and sat down. Well, he kind of helped me because I was having to do a couple jerks on the road that day. And it was like the first time I'd been on the turnpike by myself for years. And he pulled in behind me in the rest stop. I went and grabbed me a bite to eat and sat down. Next thing I know, he come over and goes, "You're the kid that," he called me a kid, which was cracked me up. And he goes, because he was an older guy, he was probably a little older than me. And you could tell he's been at it a long time. But yeah, it was a great. I mean, we sat and talked. That was probably the reason why it took me almost 10 hours to get home that day. It usually takes me about 9 hours from her mom's place at the time to here. And that's with my stops. Ghostdragonzw, all done. All done. I'm always done. I'm always a little crispy. Crispy like bacon. Did you get some good moonshots? Are you doing that now? I want to see those pictures. Oh, I'm sure you're going to post them. You going to be on in the morning, Jim? And I'm going to go ahead and start this. So if you answer me, I'm going to go ahead and start this next video because it's 19 minutes long. And we had a nice conversation. Moon is posted. Cool. I would try to post your channel link, but every time I do it, I've screwed it up. I'm going to try something different here. Let me try something totally different. I want to see if I can do this. Maybe this would help if I go from something totally different here. Open up a whole new screen. Maybe that was the problem. And I'll post your channel in here. An email sent. Thank you very much, sir. I will check that out. I'm going to post your link to your channel. I love your stuff. And the uploads, or some of those uploads have been nice to sit and have coffee to be quite honest, Jim. I at least leave a like. I don't always leave comments like I used to, but I try to every so often, since you let people know I was, hey, thanks. I'm watching. Where you at here, buddy? There he is. There we go. That's what I should have done. But see, I'm subscribed to him. There we go. This is the links to Jim's channel for those who don't have it. Let me make sure that's it. Nope, it went. See, it did it again. It did it again. I'm going to give up. I'm just going to give up. But let me go ahead and start this one and we can keep talking. Let me see where I'm at here. What is up, as she says? That's too funny. Well, I don't know why I'm having such a problem doing that. I've never had a problem before doing that. And I even went to a separate browser and everything. Okay. Let me make sure that's set. Get her on here. So my screen goes black because of all the dark colors I have on the screen. So that's why my lighting changes. And I don't use any backlighting or anything because my camera light is so bright. You guys don't want to see behind me anyways. It's just a bunch of toys. Okay. Present. Yes. There we go. Share. Put me down at the bottom. So to get a better view for you guys. Make it big. Again, if the sound is funky, I'll know. It's hard to tell because I don't have my YouTube sound on. So like I said, if the sound is low or something, let me know. A lot of her videos were recorded kind of low. This sounded like it was okay, so we should be good to go. Okay, this one was either right before Spaced Out Radio or during Spaced Out Radio. I think it may be during. I didn't look at the date. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, here we go.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing the almost vanished
I like the darkness
people
too.
who were stalked in the woods.
Sometimes a little too much,
now, I have
a little
an
more
almost
than the light, and that
series
kind of bothers
on
me.
here, and
I do love
seems
being
to be
in the
one
dark.
that you guys really enjoy. I'm going to premiere this video as I was asked to do, which I thought was so incredibly awesome. And I want to kind of just get started. On this channel, I've done several videos on the almost vanished, people who either disappeared and came back with strange stories to tell, or people who almost ended up missing one way or another.
I'll probably do more of those.
Usually in
Those
some
are
sort
good
of
videos
encounter
too.
involving some unknown.
I think this was her very first premiere.
I've also discussed with you guys here at length paranormal or supernatural forces and or entities luring or trying to lure people to their death and doom, luring people further and further into the woods in order to do whatever it is they do in order to make the person disappear, because I don't know. Fortunately, sometimes they come back with wild and crazy sounding stories, which most community. Sometimes too, they come back with no memory of what happened or how they ended up where they did. Most of the time, when I dig a bit deeper and look years later, the person still hasn't come up with any memories at all of what happened to them. And in the rare case that they do start getting some memory back, they don't want to talk about it. They absolutely refuse. Today, though, I want to specifically talk about the woods. It's one of my favorite topics to cover and discuss on my channel because there's just so much ground to cover, and I love researching. From cryptids to unknown entities to invisible forces not of nature that come to take us humans away to who knows where to do who knows what with and to us. More specifically than just covering things happening in the woods today, in the cases of the almost vanished, I want to discuss people who say they were hunted, to put it in no uncertain terms, as that's exactly what I believe to have been happening in these encounters as well. Sit back, relax, cuddle up under your favorite blankie, maybe grab a drink, because these encounters are truly terrifying. Encounters of people being hunted in the woods and feeling like they're part of the almost vanished. So, as I just mentioned, and I find this so incredibly fascinating, one of the main factors in these encounters is the fact that in most cases, more often than not, the presence or whatever it is felt more than it is seen. Oftentimes too, it's heard, and it seems to be a sound that isn't of this earth. It's not of this plane of existence, nothing we've ever heard before. To briefly discuss the more common factors of these almost vanishings with you, there's also the complete, total, and sudden absence of sound as well. Everything in the woods just seems to stop, right down to the wind refusing to blow anymore. The state of unidentified and uncharacteristic fear and primal dread that creep into the person at one point or another is brought up more often than not as well. In North Carolina, United States, at a place called Stone Mountain State Park, an avid hiker and outdoorswoman named Chelsea, because I don't use real names and I don't use internet handles, I guess is the way to put it, we'll call her Chelsea, tells her tale of what happened to her one day when she was out for a hike in the state park near where she lived in the Blue Ridge Mountains. She claims she was not once but twice stalked by some unseen force or being, and she knew with everything she had inside of her that whatever it was wasn't stalking her to take her out to a fancy dinner. I'll just let Chelsea tell the first encounter for you. Quote, This happened last year while hiking with my boyfriends and our dog. We had seen a couple of the waterfalls that day and were going to hike to the lower falls. There had been very heavy rain for a few days, and I knew this trail had several creek crossings. I decided I didn't want to get wet and told my boyfriend to go on without me and I would wait for him. The falls were only another half mile or so ahead. Boyfriend and dog go on across the creek and disappear out of my line of sight. As soon as I couldn't see them anymore, I was suddenly aware of how quiet the woods were. No birds chirping or squirrels rustling leaves. I don't usually get spooked, but all of a sudden I had this overwhelming sense of fear and dread. I felt as if something was watching me and I couldn't shake the feeling. I had an urge to run after my boyfriend and started the creek crossing when I saw him come dashing back towards me. He too had an overwhelming sense of dread and didn't get 10 minutes down the trail before he turned back and ran to me. He said he couldn't shake the feeling that something was going to attack me. This was around 11 a.m. on a summer day, so not very likely a big cat or bear would be out at this time, end quote. As I've already explained multiple times throughout and across all of these videos, that sense of dread and unmistakably eerie and oftentimes sudden quiet of everything in nature is very common. Terrifying, as I know from my first-hand account of the Glimmer Man. In her second encounter, she remembers that same terrifying feeling of being stalked and watched creeping up on her, and this time it was accompanied by a strange and unidentifiable sounds throughout the trees above her. She said of the experience, quote, "This incident was very scary because I was alone with my dog. We were hiking the same section of Stone Mountain but a different trail called Wolf Rock. On the way up, I had seen many trees that were scorched but could have been due to lightning. I have pics of the trees, just assumed it was lightning burns. Started getting an ominous feeling, so I started picking up my pace to head back. When I was about a mile from my car, I heard what can only be described as a supersonic boom. It shook the ground and rattled the trees. It spooked me and my dog so bad we ran most of the way back to the car. Tried later describing the sound to my boyfriend, but to no avail since I had never heard anything like it. Not gunfire, not a plane, not a rock slide, which I've all heard before. But while reading another person's story on this site, it sparked my memory. They described the sound they heard as a giant sledgehammer hitting a tin wall. That's the best way I can describe the noise I heard. That metallic bang reverberating through the woods. Very unsettling." End quote. What in the world could this noise have been, and where in the world could it have been suddenly coming from? Where in the world, quote unquote, I guess would be the operative phrase here, wouldn't it, right? It's most likely not of this world, and that's exactly why I think it's so hard for people to come forward and tell their stories, because some of it's just unexplainable and very hard for us as human beings to wrap our head around. This metallic noise isn't exclusive to Chelsea's experience, though, and tends to come up time and time again in these encounter stories. Another noise that I come across often in my research of these specific types of encounters is a knocking sound that seemingly comes from the trees, as though something or someone is knocking on the trees themselves, only there's no one in sight. Another woman who posted on the same site as our Chelsea here had her very own creepy and fear-inducing experience while out in the woods with some friends. I'll call this woman Jamie. This one happened in Algonquin Provincial Park in Ontario, Canada. Jamie was out in the canoe with two friends on a bright and sunny, beautiful day inside the park at a place called Rock Lake. The three friends decided to camp out on the shore of the lake for the night. Once night fell and the darkness came, the wind became quite vicious. It was roaring and whipping and blowing and whirring everything everywhere. In the middle of the night, though, after all of the friends retired to their respective tents or beds, it wasn't specified, the wind suddenly and quite abruptly just stopped. It just completely and totally came to a halt. It was described as if the wind had, quote, somehow been turned off, like someone simply flipped a switch, end quote. It wasn't like it slowed down little by little and became a gentle breeze. That's not what happened. It was roaring one moment and completely non-existent the next. Jamie also described there being no sounds of insects or animals, nothing scurrying or roaming about like squirrels or deer. There was absolute and total silence where just a moment ago the wind was so loud you wouldn't have heard someone a foot in front of you without straining your ears. The wind situation alone alarmed her, but she was also overcome with a sense of fear and dread and terror, which seemed to come upon her as suddenly as the wind had stopped blowing. 1 minute, it was just there. All of her senses were on high alert, and the hairs on the back of her neck and on her arms were standing up. I described this exact same thing in my encounter and said it was reminiscent to me of how the air changes right before an electrical storm. The dread she felt was almost tangible. That's how strong it was. Her friends were still asleep and she was the only one awake and noticing all of this happening. She went on to explain, quote, I wanted to wake my friends, but I thought they would think I was just over-worried. The silence was overbearing and I began to feel the most intense sense of dread I've ever had, seemingly for no reason. I then heard what sounded like loud knocks on the trees in the distance. I don't know what they could have been, but it was making me feel worse and more scared. The wind eventually came back after about 20 minutes and I tried to get more sleep. I nearly dozed off when I heard a sound in my head, sort of like when you get hurt in video games, like a high-pitched frequency that got higher in frequency as it went on. I had an intense feeling of dread at this moment too, and I stayed up to sunrise and couldn't sleep. I didn't even mention it to my friends because they were asleep and would probably have just shrugged it off, end quote. When she and her friends were all awake the next day, Jamie decided it would be best not to say anything. As they pushed their canoes in the lake to go out into the water again, though, she couldn't help but keep thinking about what had happened the night before. It was obviously very much so on her mind. She was racked with worry and racked with fear, and for what reason? She still didn't have a clue. The friends canoed their way to a place called Rose Island that day, and all but Jamie were jovial and enjoying their trip thus far. Rose Island would change all of that, though, almost instantaneously. While still in their canoes, all of the friends heard these strange and somewhat threatening sounds coming from the woods surrounding where they were sitting in their canoes. So they're in their canoes and the noises are coming from the surrounding woods where they were going to dock and get out and hike. It was almost like something somewhere out in those woods didn't want them to come any closer. Jamie said, quote, later, we canoed to a place in Rock Lake called Rose Island. On this island, as we collected wood for our fire, I began to hear a variety of weird sounds. The weirdest was a knocking sound, which consisted of 5 very low frequency knocks. I could not think of an animal that would make this sound. I have heard woodpeckers and they are much higher pitched. We then heard what sounded like wood banging on trees, but from different directions and from different directions as well. I don't know what that means, guys. I'm just quoting. Later, we were hiking and I saw a black mass in the forest, which looked kind of like a black bear. We ran away and decided to leave camp and come home because we all had had a complete feeling of dread after seeing it, end quote. So, what are we left with here, guys? Let's unpack this just a little bit. What was this quote-unquote black mass? Could it really have been just a bear? While bears can be very scary and extremely dangerous at times, black bears aren't so predatory unless you come between a male and its food or a female and her cubs. I know this personally as I have had said mama and cubs come right up to my porch stairs directly in front of my screen door. I have video. A few nights later, I received a visit on my porch from the daddy bear who came and opened up my recycling bin because he smelled a cardboard I had accidentally left there from a frozen pizza. Otherwise, it was all random boxes from shipping and shopping and things like that. Anyways, I just don't think laying your eyes on what could possibly be a black bear running around would be enough to terrify me to run home. Yeah, I'd want to get away from it. I mean, bears can swim, but I don't know. I have a feeling that bear is what their minds came up with in order to make more sense of what they were seeing and hearing. Even though, if you know anything about bears, they mostly don't bang wood against trees or make the sort of noises and sounds described by Jamie in her encounters. Could this have been a Bigfoot? I wonder because of the strange noises. I have a lot of Bigfoot hunters as friends from being in this community. Hi, Connor! Mwah! And I've looked them up and I've heard the alleged sounds they make, and this somehow rings true to me. I obviously cannot be sure, though, without more information. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. There's another report that I came across that had this strange wood knocking sound. I'll call him Danny, and he says he worked for federal law enforcement at the time of his encounter. He was out camping with a friend in the Chiricahua National Monument area in southeastern Arizona, and I'm sorry if I butchered that. The two men decided to go for a hike, and as they were out there deep in the woods hiking along the trails, the weather took a turn for the weird. It all of a sudden became, quote, unseasonably foggy and gloomy, end quote, and right after this happened, a series of bizarre events took place. Danny reported, quote, shortly after the fog came in, the last part of the bad weather changed. We heard a strange set of 3 knocking noises from behind a hanging rock at the top of the gorge we were in at that point. It sounded vaguely like a heavy tool being slammed against the rock in the cadence of 2 knocks a quarter second apart, a short second delay, then a third knock. This 3-knock sequence repeated several times from that location. We stopped as soon as we heard it, and we were immediately made uneasy for whatever reason. After several sets of knocks, it stopped, and we started moving about 50 yards when we heard the same several set of knocks from the opposite side of the gorge, then again from a third position that was once again above us on the rim of the gorge near some large monolithic rocks. My friend said something to the effect of, "Hurry up and let's get out of here. I don't like this." And we started moving out of there at a constant jog. For the next few minutes, we heard a few more sets of knocks from the 3 different locations. I felt very much in danger for my life for some reason. At one point, we stopped at an outcropping on the rim of the gorge. We both had our hands on our holsters and had a quick look at the ridge above us. We had instinctively grabbed cover before doing so. That shows just how disturbed we were. When we made it to the trail crossroads at the end of the loop near the visitor center, we had lost the feeling of dread about a half-mile back. We went to the visitor center and we asked the ranger there if there were any crews working in the area or if there were any groups of people doing something that sounded like the knocking we had described. She said that it sounded like we heard woodpeckers. I played my roommate a clip of a woodpecker native in the area via YouTube on my phone, and the sound was vaguely similar, but the tapping of the woodpecker was much faster and it wasn't quite as deep toned. He said, "Well, that does kind of sound like it. We probably just heard that and got freaked out." But I don't agree. But I felt as if it would be embarrassing to admit I still felt something very weird actually happened, so I feigned agreement. We then drove home, end quote. It wasn't until later that day, when they both gave it more thought, that the two realized and decided that what they had heard definitely was not woodpeckers. They had no clue what they had come upon, but were glad to have escaped it with their lives. Could the banging on the rocks and trees be the sign of a Bigfoot about to attack? I mean, it sounds just as reasonable as anything else we're talking about here, right? Our last encounter for this video comes from a woman who was camping in Big Bend National Park with a friend and her husband. That's in southern Texas, United States, if you don't already know. I'll call this one Jill for the sake of the story. Jill explained the terrain was flat and the area was desolate and remote. She and her companions decided it would quote-unquote be fun to go for a night hike out in the nearest trail to where they had set up their camp for the night. They all agreed it would be pretty easy since the terrain was flat and the night was brightly lit by the full moon and the clear sky above them. Jill did try and take a precaution though, and she set up some rock piles earlier in the day when they had hiked the same trail in order to help them, if they had decided to hike the same trail again that night, find their way to where they were going and back to their camp without any issues or getting lost. It was just around 10 p.m. when they had all finished their dinner and set out on what was to be a most terrifying journey through these woods and trails. Jill recounted, quote, "The first 10 minutes were pretty uneventful. We were all in good spirits. Suddenly, we hear a scuttling noise from about 50 feet away coming from behind us. Having been used to animal noises at night, we wrote it off as a critter. A few minutes later, we heard the same noise a bit closer and sounded like a bigger animal. There are black bears here, but we weren't in the area they're normally sighted. Like I said, the landscape was wide open and we didn't see anything with our flashlights. We were a bit uneasy, but willing to go on. The rock piles had been doing a good job of leading us in the right direction. All at once I stopped, feeling absolute terror. It's an indescribable feeling I see many others reference. I knew we were in danger, I just didn't know why. I looked to my friend and her husband, who both looked as terrified as I felt. There was no sound, no wind. Then, in an instant, the most inhuman scream erupted, seemingly from all around us. We all froze for what felt like minutes, but I'm sure it was just a few seconds. I don't remember making the decision to run back, but the next thing I do remember, we were all running. We had made it pretty far out, even though I thought I was running in the direction of our camp. I remember scanning for the rock piles I had made, but not being able to find any, and almost turning back, thinking we were headed in the wrong direction, but had this instinct that told me not to. We made a rather large rock I knew was on the route back to the campsite. I also remembered putting a rock pile beside that rock. I went to check if it was there to make sure we were headed back to our campsite. The rocks were still there, but they had been knocked over. This set off all of the alarms, and I told my friend and my husband that we had to go back to the camp as soon as possible. We made it back a few minutes later, and by the time we got back, I was entirely freaked out and didn't want to stay anymore. I think my husband was as well, but my friend convinced us that it was just wildlife, so we stayed in the tent that night. I don't know if it was connected, but there was scuttling and footsteps around the tent all night long. We did not do any more primitive hiking that trip and opted instead for a campsite in one of the community camps. I've never felt that feeling before or since, and I've been in the woods at night plenty of times. The next day I went out to check if all the rock piles had been knocked down. They had. I don't think an animal would deliberately go around knocking over the markers. That's what really makes me think it was sentient. I don't know what it was, but I don't want to know, and I'm glad we made it out, end quote. I've got to admit to you all, I have never been camping. I'm not sure if stories like this make me want to never attempt it, or if they make me want to go even more than I already do, because I really do want to go camping. It seems like something was purposefully toying with them. Again, Bigfoot comes to mind. What do you guys think? That's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments. I'm trying to be more mindful of the comments, like at least for the first day or a couple of days, and pinning the comment that's like the funniest or that makes the most sense or just that I like the most. I don't know. I got to start looking at comments, and I do apologize that I've been neglecting them. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the love by sharing this video. Please be sure and check out the description box to see what I'm up to for the rest of the week. If you don't normally catch my live streams, it would be awesome if you could do that. Come on in and say hi. On Wednesday nights from 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, I am right here pulling one card, Intuitive Oracle, for anybody who comes in and wants one. First come, first serve basis. On Friday nights, tentatively, I'm over on Paranormal Chop Shop from 9 to 11 p.m. also Eastern, but due to some things going on right now with my family, I've been kind of in and out over there, but you should go over and check that out too, with Sunny Conway, my Sunny Bear, and Papa Willie and Chad Smith, Jake Smith. Check out the Chad Smith podcast. Check out Oracles and Beyond Cassie. Check out Bigfoot Anon. Check out UFO Garage. I mean, all of my sister and brother channels. Spaghetti Lee, Trippy Times with Josh Casey.
Okay, there we go. Now let me catch up here. Dogging me. Dogging. Dragon. I normally avoid Facebook. Only way I can keep a profile on there. You know, I did Facebook before this, before I am on there now. And I basically, I kind of got booted and left. It was kind of a mutual agreement. I mean, I actually was talking. People were calling me because I was posting stuff, you know, political stuff and some other stuff. Actually, it wasn't as much political as it was some other things. And and when I came back, they were like, "Are you going to behave?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll behave." And I actually had to tell them that because I got in pretty big trouble with that I was only doing it for Gemma, because that was the reason I came back for Facebook in the first place, was for Gemma. Same thing with TikTok. I'm only doing it for Gemma. But I had a little fun there. But it's just right now, it's been so crazy. I haven't been anything. Like, I've been doing model updates, and I haven't even been able to do that because I've been working on my Godzilla model. Now, I tried X and Twitter. I wasn't a big fan of those. Was on Instagram for about 3 days. Well, actually, I was on Instagram for about a month, only because I was involved with getting involved with a comic book YouTube channel that did mystery boxes. And you would follow them on there to get hints and stuff of what was coming in, what you might get in your next mystery box. But I stopped that years ago. But yeah, it's just been hard to get on Facebook. And I or TikTok. I'm trying. I get on and check message. If I get a second, I check both them for notifications. Right now, it's basically what I've been doing. Been off of X for months. That is a useful study. X has become, since he took over, Elon took over, I think X is a lot better. It still has a lot of problems, but it's a lot better than it was. Anyone who gets a chance to go, oh, Jim, anyone that gets a chance to go to Stone Mountain, North Carolina, trade on camping, stay at least 2 or 3 days. Try to stay camping at least 2 to 3 days. Lots of hiking, lots. Ooh, I've never been there. I've never been to North Carolina, so. Been to South Carolina, but I was pretty young. I don't remember it. Family had friends. Mom and dad had a friend there. That sounds. It's. When you're talking, it's a beautiful place. I love being out in the woods. I'm not an ocean guy. Get me in the woods. Edna yells at me all the time because I'm not afraid to chase the things. I'm not afraid to whistle at night. And I've been in the Appalachians at night whistling. Nothing ever happened until I got yelled at for days after doing it. My family. So, been to Stone Mountain, Georgia, laser show. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I hide nights. I hide nights are full moon nights. Andrew. Facebook banned 4 of my accounts. Twitter, then they banned me over 24 times. Google banned me 5 of my accounts, and YouTube had banned me 3 of my accounts. You're almost as bad as me. I won't even go into the trouble I have stirred up. A lot of it has to do with stuff I'm not even allowed to talk about on YouTube. Let's just say that for a while there, when I was doing research for other channels, a lot of those channels were trying to expose certain people. So, and I was a big history channel. Helped a lot of research on history channels, what we call forbidden history, in my little group. And the history they don't want us to know, like a lot of your Mudvayne channels and stuff like that. I got in trouble for some stuff that I was trying to expose. I don't think you've been lucky, Dragon. I don't think you had anybody fry your computer yet, have you? Because I've had that happen. And when I took it in to get it looked at, the guy said, yeah, somebody fried it from the inside out. He said, you're lucky they didn't destroy it or blow it up, because you can actually cause a major fire if you do, I guess. Just a hacker's thing, I guess. But they literally fried everything. I would have needed a whole new motherboard, the whole works. So I just went and got a new one. This time I was a little more careful about the things I use. I just didn't pull stuff off of my, clear it enough onto my SUB card to send it out. And I thought I got everything, and I didn't. Did you only see the insane animal-like motorcycle that just came out? No, I'll have to check it out. Sounds like me. I'm big into research. Yeah, that's my thing. I did it for myself when I was younger, but I learned I could get paid for it. So when I retired when I was forced to leave my job, because I was a screen printer, I was a textile printer, and before that I worked for Bonanza and Ponderosa steakhouses for like 15 years, and then I went into screen printing. I was a textile printer. I made transfers. Well, when they made me retire, somebody asked me if I'd do some research for next thing I know. And I retired from that at the end of the last year. So I don't do it anymore unless they offer me decent money to do it. Are we watching more Gemma? No, I usually only do two videos a night, Skylight, only because of I don't want to, the whole idea is to get you to go look at her catalog and go back and look and check it out. So, and it's fun to go back. So yeah, I do 1 or 2 a night, depending on length and how I'm feeling. So yeah, that will be it for the night. We'll talk a little bit more. I'll probably sign off here in probably about 12:30 or so. I try to stay on 2 hours, but there's on my regular chat, we've been known to be on here until like 4 o'clock in the morning. So, but my doctors say no until I start to feel better. So I try to keep them about 2 hours, 2.5, maybe 3. Tonight I'll probably end about 12:30. So you know. So you know. Hydrogen-powered beast unleashed runs, climbs. I'll have to go check that out. Dragon, no one can find me. I make them look. Well, that was me too. But believe me, they can't touch me. Well, unless you have a really good rig. I thought the same thing. I built my computer with the help of a hacker. I mean, I honestly didn't think they could get in. Even though there's still certain things I was using the whole kit and caboodle, everything. I still do. But believe me, if they want to get to you, especially if you're... At the time, I was looking into something pretty bad. And we were trying to expose something that nobody was willing to expose. And I guess someday it will come out and people will learn. But yeah, that's all we do here on these nights. I do maybe 2 a night. So you know, Skyly. But like I said, some of these chat, afterward, we've been known to stay on for 2 or 3 hours. I used to do them on Friday and Saturdays. But keep that attitude, Black Dragon. And I'm sure you probably got a good rig. So, just stay on the maintenance, stay on it. Because if there's something they want, they will find a way to get to it. You should know that anyways. Yeah, because I actually thought the same thing. They can't touch me. I did. I mean, everything went off too. And it was a shame because all of a sudden I smelled something burning. And I sat up and the PC was smoking. And they literally fried it from inside out. I don't know how they did it. My buddy looked at it. Like, man, whoever did it was good. I mean, he could barely get anything out of it. So, see, well, that's what I was doing, Black Dragon. To be honest, and yeah, we got to watch what we talk about because YouTube will. I don't need another Dolans. Yeah, I do too. I also use a bunch of other stuff. But that's, the VIP, the VPNs. So yeah, and I don't know what I did that night. I don't know how they got in. If I missed something when I shut down, which is possible. I was tired. I was a little upset about what I was seeing. Yeah, I don't know if it's no free speech here, but it's getting awful close with YouTube. That's why a lot of people are going to other forms of media. I even have to watch saying the rum part, Though I noticed that a lot more people are actually speaking out. A lot of people going to Rumble. They're keeping their YouTube, but they're still going to Rumble because they have more, And there's other ones too. Yeah, it is nearly impossible to smoke hardware through a hack, but they did it. Whoever it was, they did it. He tried to explain it to me because you see it in the movies, like, nah, they can't do that. But I watched it smoke. He said either I missed something when I shut down, because sometimes when I'm doing research, it takes me, after I'm done, it takes me forever to do a shutdown because I have to get rid of everything and close everything down, junk everything. And I must have missed something. What it was, I don't know. The computer was too fried to find out what I screwed up. But it can be done. Believe me, I learned a long time ago, if somebody says it can't be done, it could probably be done. Somebody, that or somebody will find a way to get it done. Okay? But it's possible. Takes a lot, but it is possible. Well, let's just say at that time I was looking at something that dealt with certain people up in the upper staircase, as one might say. And that was probably a lot of it. I'm surprised I didn't disappear. My dad was like, "You're lucky you didn't disappear. What were you looking at?" And I go, "Dad, you don't want to know. You don't even want to know. It will scar you. It scarred me for almost a year. In fact, I still have nightmares about it every so often. If a man makes a lock, another man can beat that lock. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure, Jim. That is for sure. Like I said, there's always somebody out there that will find a way. Always. It may take them time, but they'll find that way. They send a ton of garbage info into your system at high speeds. Yeah, that's what he tried to explain to me. And I'm like, but the problem is, I couldn't remember if I actually. Now, see, the thing was, I don't shut down. When I shut down the PC. I learned after that night, when I turn off my PC at night now, even if I don't do any research and I don't have to do all the trouble of getting rid of everything, I turn it off at the power in the back of the PC. And after I do research, not only do I turn that power off, I also unplug it. Because they can actually turn your PC on remotely. So I've learned now after that. He explained that to me. I go, they can do that, can't they? I've got a 3 PC in the works. This upgrades is up. I used to run 2. Actually, the old one that I got, I kept, the one that got fried, and I'm thinking about putting another motherboard in it and redoing it. And I usually, when I do research, the PC I got now is a nice PC, and I'm really proud of it because I went out and grabbed a good one. But when I had the 2s running, I had that PC, the old PC. I had the PC got fried. Then I had another PC, but that PC was basically just what I call a holding tank. And then I would also have my laptop, my pad beside me, and I'd have all of it going. I'd have 2 screens going, sometimes 3. That was a day. Now I don't know if I could do that. Well, I still could do it. I could reset it back up. That hurt. And this new PC cost me a chunk of money. So could Dad help me pay for it? If the CPU cooler is in that car, it can't overheat. They have to hack the BIOS or micro on the motherboard to mess with the voltage. All I know is they fried it. I wish I'd had it at the time. I wish I had a cooling system in the PC. I'm thinking about putting one in this one and upping it even more. I just, I'm pretty decent with my money. I'm not a rich man by any means. So I try to work within my frame rate. That's what I might say. But it happens. Hey, I don't talk about it much. This is probably the most I've ever talked about it. I don't like talking about it because I'm afraid it's going to stir up trouble. I'm not a man that gets scared easy. But when they fry your PC, it tends to bug you a little bit. I've seen demons in their faces. I've looked demons in the face. I've looked a demon in the face, a hat man in his face. But that bothered me more than it. But then again, people always seem to when people do stuff like that, it bothers me more than the crazy stuff does. Yeah, you can. Well, I actually watched a friend of mine turn on his girlfriend's at her house. She was sitting there because you want to see something funny. She goes, now go down the street, go home down the street and look at your computer. She went down the street, called him. How'd you do that? Old days they called it a bus program. Yep. Now see, I was learning a lot about hacking and stuff. I know my way around, but not like I should. So that's why I have friends I grew up with that one of them actually works for the government now. Actually, a couple of my friends work for the government. The twins I talk about every so often, they work for the government. But I had two friends that were just incredible computer geeks. One went to work for the government. The other one, he kind of works on his own. I think he's one of the anonymous people, to be honest. But he comes. I talk to him. He pretty quiet guy. He always has been. But man, he knows his stuff. And I've done things for him to help him out, so we kind of do each other's favors. So, and we've been buds for a while. We don't. It's one of those relationships that it's like we're the best of friends, but we barely talk because he's always on the go, always. But then again, a lot of my friends are always on the go. Hold my beer and watch this. It's basically what he did. It was pretty amazing because he was something else. I haven't heard from him since that happened. He emailed me. I emailed him back. He said he was. I think he said he was going to Brazil or South America to do something, and I haven't heard back from him. I hope he's okay. I hadn't heard from my twins for a while, and all of a sudden I get a. Well, she's. That's a long story. I found out just that they're both in Japan. She went to meet her brother there. The twins are a male and a female, but I'll tell you what, for a male and a female, they still look a lot alike. And they're the type of twins you pinch one and the other one goes ouch. And if you hit one in the other room, the other one will come out of the other room. Did you just hit him? They're very connected. They had great parents too. Their parents were amazing people. A lot of crazy stuff in Brazil, even aliens. Yeah. Well, he was into that stuff too. Um, when he helped me look at my old computer before I went and got this one, because he helped me pick this out and helped me do some more changes with it and help with the money I had at the time do what I needed to do to make it safe. We were talking about a bunch of stuff down going on in South America. And he's like, they have Bigfoot everywhere. And I go, oh, well, I think people freak out when you hear that somebody in Europe thinks they saw a Bigfoot. And I go, yeah, because they're probably everywhere. They're probably all over the place. They probably have different races and breeds just like us. So he was talking about going to either Brazil or South America to see something. He wanted to see it with his own eyes. He didn't go into detail. But he's known to disappear for months and then come back. He's usually good about texting one of us three buddies and letting us know he's okay. So I'm sure we'll hear from him soon. He might have found himself a woman down there. He said he was tired of being single, so. Trends can be fun, but they can also be crazy scary. These two are amazing people. I can't go into what they do for a living. She's a whippersnapper. I mean, she's one of the few women I probably wouldn't get in a ring with. She's a little crazier in the ring than her brother is, but they're both just amazing. But yeah, they tend to freak me out sometimes, finishing each other's, or they always seem to know what the other one's doing, when I don't even know where they're at, and it's wild how really connected they are. It's like the one with she went through a divorce. I think he took it harder than she did. I think he showed all the emotion while she went through it. Now, he's never been married, but he's a government military man, so, and he's still active, and he's a year younger than me. They're a year younger than me. And he's still active. I don't think he's like jumping to war, but I think he does a lot behind the scenes now. Heck, half the time I don't know what he's doing. Because he's gone quite a bit. When she got divorced, they moved back here. She moved back here to Columbus, or actually Worthington. Then he really never had a place. He usually stayed at their mom and dad's, but their mother had passed about a year ago. And so he just usually would stay in hotels because he was always on the go. So when his sister bought the house, he basically moved what he had into her house. So when he comes in and stays, I see him getting married soon. He'd been talking about a woman, but I think he found himself a little lady. She said it'd be a while for her. She's kind of like me, so I'm going to wait. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I have my kids and my grandkids. I'm good. My ex-wife and I are still somewhat decent friends. Well, we don't agree on everything, but there was a set of twins that were separated at birth. They both had a lot of similar connections between them, even though they had never even known each other. Yeah, you hear stories like that a lot, where for some reason mother had to give them up and they were separated. And then it's like they put them back together. It was like they were never apart. It was like they immediately connected. It was like, yeah. Actually, there was triplets. You heard the story about the triplets, right? About the 3 boys. All were all separated at birth, after birth. And then all of a sudden they started, people recognizing, and putting them together. It was like, they said it was like, we never left. Yeah, actually, I don't think it was a while ago, but every so often the story comes up because their ending was a couple, I think one of the boys had a little bit of an issue or something. I'll have to pull it up. It probably would be hard to find because I think the latest story I saw about them was here on YouTube. I think one of them ended up passing. I gotta watch what I say. You know what I mean? Yeah, moved on by himself. And that was just a month ago. I saw that too, that update. So, but twins are interesting people because you'll have twins that are totally different too. They're total opposites, which is fine. It was I thought they were twins until they found the third. Yeah. Yeah, they thought it was just them, and then the third one, and then they found the third one. Or found out, I can't remember if they found out, because they were having a hard time getting the records. And then they found out there was a third brother. think you're right there. I'll have to go back and see if I can find that. But that was interesting. And you hear about that stuff all the time. It happens a lot more than people realize. And only a minuscule of it makes the news. But, you know, social media now, you'd think you'd hear a lot more about that stuff. Okay. You're fine. I knew what you meant. Here's her. Sounds like you were talking down in the south there, bud. Been separated at birth, lived their entire lives. But through great coincidence, they both ended up in hospice together after long lives. One says to the other, and says, "What you doing? What do you think? What do you think?" All right, guys. Where we at? 12:35. What a great conversation. Let's pick this up Wednesday. I will be here at 10 for spooky time. I actually have some tales to tell. Counters. I don't like calling them tales. I don't like calling them tales. I don't like. I don't like calling them stories either, because they're encounters. These are things that happen to people. That's what I prefer calling them, not stories or. So I do call them encounters. But I will be here. Actually, see you Wednesday. Maybe I always say I'll see you on the flip side, God willing. I'll keep an eye out for you in the morning. Hopefully I can catch you another. I felt so bad. I sat down, had a cup of coffee, Jim, in my hand. I was watching you doing some paperwork, making my list, and the door knocked. I felt so bad because I didn't even get to say goodbye. When I came back on, it was still going, but I didn't realize the stream had ended. Everybody, have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful Sunday. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Just be safe out there. Enjoy this crazy weather. I know we're supposed to get him Monday. And please, please, please have a wonderful, wonderful evening and day tomorrow. I'm rambling.